Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. Good afternoon. This is me, your host, the host of the Shout Out Show, Preacher Moz. I want to welcome everybody back to the show. As you know, we are a daily show. We go Monday through Sunday and go back again. I want to thank everybody who's coming for the first time. I always like to welcome you. We hope that we're able to give you a quality experience for this little bit of time. For my regulars, for my soldiers, for my Shout Out family, I want to say thank you for coming back and supporting this project because it seems like we just get better and better and better. I want to give a couple of shout outs. I want to give a shout out to OG Reginald Kitchen. Hang in there. I want to give a shout out to OGS Ishrat Siddiqui. Please hang in there, sister. We know transitions are tough. We want you to hang in there, and the Siddiqui family as well. Brothers and sisters, today is the game. Today is the game. If you look at the title, Shout Out Show with me says, why Trump could win in 2020. I'm not talking about the election. Well, people say, he's not going to win the election. You never know. I've seen elections stolen. Remember George Bush and the recount? You guys remember and stuff? But here's my deal, brothers and sisters. I say he can win, and I'm not talking about the election. I'm talking about the environment of toxicity that we're dealing with now. It's so thick now that we now have brothers and sisters that go against one another. The mastery of this situation, and I can't put it all on Trump, we allow ourselves in some regards to be fooled. We tie into this fact that our faith, brothers and sisters, our faith will turn other people around. Our faith preserves us. Some of the biggest people are the ones who are the believers. Now, I don't want this to sound wrong or anything, but when you're not a believer, the people who look at believers think that we are suckers. Because we have a spiritual center, we have a moral calling, we have a framework, if you will, that calls us to be better in ourselves and for one another, towards one another. And I found, quickly, even when we're done wrong, it's a plain situation that the people who forgive the most are forgotten the quickest. Let me say this again. The people who forgive the most are forgotten the quickest. We're talking about George Floyd. Nobody's talking about a man that walks into a church, prays with parishioners, and kills them. That's how crazy this thing has gotten. And I want to give a warning for some of the things I'm about to say, because I've touched on some things. Yesterday, I touched on a couple aspects about predatory behavior. I talked about in religious communities. We don't even have to talk about predatory behavior in the political communities, because it's there. We deal with it every day, and we make excuses in some regards for our politicians to act the way they do. Now, I'm going to give some analogies here, and I'm going to call some things back that we talked about, brothers and sisters. I once said in Hollywood, and this is important because Hollywood has so much to do with image. Image. Who you think you are in one hand and who they want you to think you are in the other hand. Who you think you are and who they want you to think you are. And at some point in time, you have to make a choice. That issue is, do I want to be a pleasant sound or I want to be a noise? You have to make a choice. And this is what this election is about. Making a choice. But outside of the election, there's been mastery that people are making choices that they're not comfortable with. I just told you that the people that forgive the most are the ones that forgotten the quickest. Why do I say that? It's not that I'm bitter. It's that I'm heartbroken at the lives that have been affected by people who, for no other reason, lived the straight path, tried to do the right thing, believed, treated people well, treated their neighbors well, raised their kids, and they still come up on the short end of the stick. Why are we talking about that? Because we have a culture now that lends itself to people being shortchanged. We have a culture now where people coming up short is okay. It doesn't matter that you worked your whole life, and because the government goes awry and they lose the money, now all of a sudden your quality of life is affected. Nobody worries about that anymore. People will worry about their own skin. Oh, I like to talk about skin. I'm going to talk about some skin here in a minute, too, brothers and sisters. Because some people are thin-skinned. When I say thin-skinned, it means that I can no longer say what I want to say because you're going to interpret it in a hurtful way. We're not talking about my intentions. We're not talking about trying to give you information. You have made a value judgment based on the fact that you don't like what I hear. You're not judging it for its truth. You're not judging it for its value. You're not judging it for its potential to affect people in a positive way. It stops with you. The people I'm talking to, you know who I'm talking to. Because historically, brothers and sisters, the game has not changed. And I'll give Donald Trump this credit. I'll give him this credit right here. He showed everybody and their mama that the game hasn't changed. For all the years of singing Kumbaya, for all the years of we shall overcome, for all the years that we're going to cross the bridge and level playing field is garbage. It's foolish. It's silly. We let a man go back to his past. Donald Trump went back to visit Richard Nixon in a dark phone booth, and he never came out. He demonizes the people who do the drugs. He demonizes the Latinos. He demonizes the people who are least likely to be able to represent themselves in any capacity, particularly in law, and those are the people he goes after. For everybody else, well, he has a plan for you too. The plan is simply this. He knows, and the politicians know, and they're learning that they can run the timer, they can run the clock out on people. So this election coming is about running the clock out on people. All the things and innovations that you're seeing about the post office and mail-in voting and all of that, it's a sucker game, brothers and sisters. It's a sucker game, and they're trying to sucker you in. You see, Donald Trump is something that I talked about. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Sister Aika. Thank you for coming on the show. Donald Trump has mastered something. He is a poor man's rich man. Let me say it again. He's a poor man, rich man. Because when you're a poor man, rich man, you look at other rich people and hope through their charity or through the kindness of their heart that they're going to overlook how you got your money. They're going to overlook how you managed to grow your money, if you will. They're going to forgive your debts. That's what you hope. Because Donald Trump, brothers and sisters, is one of the worst businessmen in the world. Call it what it is. But here's my point. Hollywood. He understood television. He understood the deep nook and crannies of people's psyche, whereby he understood that space between who you think you are and who you want to be. Who you think you are and who you want to be. And when you want to be this person, he'll show you who you really are. And when you are this person, he'll switch it up. The game now is the politicians do it. They call it gaslighting or whatever. You call it whatever you want to. I'm just saying here, brothers and sisters, the game is not, it's the same game. We need to stop coming up with these new terms and systemic racism, institutional racism. No, call it wrong and challenge it on being wrong. Call it a legal insult, if you will, an improper legal argument, and go after the legal argument. Because as long as we're sitting around here going around talking about these words, these are hope words. These are hope words. And I don't want people to get upset with me because I'm not a pessimistic guy, but I'm not a fool either. See, there's a thing about, being a pessimist, being an optimist, and being a fool. I'm not a fool, brothers and sisters. Shout out my brother Earth. Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Big Earth, good to see you back on the show. I'm not a fool. And many of you are not fools either. Your problem is you're surrounded by fools. You're surrounded by foolish things. And the foolish things are around you so much that they look normal. That they look normal. That to see a foolish thing is okay. To see something that would normally be totally unacceptable, we now question it can be okay. It's that little bit of doubt that has led us to the position that we're in today. I want to give y'all a game one-on-one of what's going on. And this is how Trump could win. And let me throw in, anybody could win the election. I didn't even want to go there. But there's a bigger prize that we're talking about, winning. You're talking about winning a position that affects other people's behavior. Okay? Winning a position that affects other people's behavior. You can look at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is a bunch of conservatives and liberals, but now it's mostly conservatives. And they echo. And I know people go, you know, you have to follow the law, the Constitution. Listen, man, my daddy told me all the time, anything man-made is bound to break down or be compromised. From your car to your bodies to, damn it, the law. And I don't want people to think that I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I talk to OGs who tell me about when they had to go to segregated schools, had to drink out of water fountains that said black only, and the law was considered a working law then. Well, it's not a working law. And I think everybody needs to take off the blinders and start understanding where we are right here, right now. So I'm going to talk to my African-American brothers and sisters, my African-American Muslim brothers and sisters, my immigrant brothers and sisters, my immigrant Muslim brothers and sisters, because you got to understand the game. And I say understand the game, not so that you play it. It's so that you don't play it. It's so that you recognize it for what it is and you pull yourself back, because that game is like a bacteria. It's like a virus, if you will. It needs something to attach to. Leave that game alone. We have not learned how to do that in so many years. We are so dependent on other people's foolishness for acceptance, for sustenance, for clarity, that we find ourselves in a deep, deep, dark abyss, if you will. Yesterday, talking about spiritual abuse, this is why we come to this situation, brothers and sisters. This is why I want everybody to hear this. Give a big shout out to my brother, Terrence Brown. Terrence knows this. I'm going to give y'all some good OG games, some good OG jazz games, some good OG 1950 Nation of Islam fish sandwich game. There's wolves and there's sheep. You've heard that before. There's wolves and there's sheep. Denzel Washington asked a young man, are you a wolf or you a sheep? He said, I'm a wolf. And I'm going to tell you the game here. There's a reason why he asked that. Because if you have to say you're a wolf, there's a good chance that you're a sheep. If you have to say it, it's a good chance that you're a sheep. Let me add a little clarity to this. There's wolves and there's sheep. Now, I'm going to tell you how it goes. Everybody knows the nature of a wolf and the nature of a sheep. If you had, brothers and sisters, in a room, 5 sheep and 5 wolves, those sheep are going to be scared to death. But if you change the math and you took out 4 wolves and replaced them with 4 sheep, now it's 9 sheep and 1 wolf. Now, hey, the wolf may work themselves through the sheep, but it takes time now. It takes time. It takes energy. You know, who knows? The sheep might figure out something about the wolf, but it takes time now. So we talk about wolves and sheep in society, in politics. Let me explain something real careful, because I don't want to have it misconstrued. The idea of sheep, for lack of a better word, the idea of sheep has a lot to do with societal understanding and what we accept. Societal understanding and what we accept. Why am I saying this? Because I believe, personally, through all the time of slavery, through all the time of Jim Crow, through all the time of segregation, black people, if you will, were not sheep. They were oppressed to have sheep-like nature. Let me say that again. They were not sheep. They were oppressed to have sheep-like nature. When I say sheep-like nature, that's to keep them docile, to make sure that they don't show their fangs. But everybody knows, every good white supremacist loses sleep knowing that that sheep has fangs, because it's not a sheep, it's a wolf. And what you can do to keep that wolf sheepish, if you will, is to surround them with other sheeps. So when when the wolf has wolf tendencies, the sheep go, no, that's what wolves do. You're a sheep. That sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? I was in Dallas, Texas, 2014. Improv. Went to go see my homie Dave Chappelle. Was backstage watching the show, and he told a joke. And we talked about this joke. But he told a joke about being in a group of situation with a man, brothers and sisters. He was a man, but he was dressed as a woman. But he told David he wanted to be addressed as a woman. What? He wants to be addressed as a woman. You're a man. All my senses tell me you're a man. Your physical appearance tells me you're a man. But you are requiring me to overlook my own senses, common sense, reason, and address you as a woman. So don't call me Fred. Call me Frederica. Now, some of y'all are going, I'm not out of pocket. Do you know you could lose your job these days if you don't recognize somebody how they want to be recognized? Ain't that a flip? Black people want to be free, but now, because you want to be recognized a certain way, I have to respect that. But black people been going through that whole, we want to be recognized as human. And now it just flips over that quickly. Now, why am I saying that? Well, the game is, brothers and sisters, that we now have a situation, a scenario where the people who are sheep masquerading as wolves understand that I have to switch this. I have to switch the schematic up, meaning that I know where the wolves are. And there's two ways you're going to get rid of wolves, brothers and sisters. Pay very close attention. It's two ways you get rid of wolves when you're a bunch of sheep. Number one, you wait the wolves out, or you overpopulate with sheep. Numbers game. That's one. And you make sure that the wolves, if you will, are not able to act on their nature. And not being able to act on their nature, if you will, lessens their capability to do what they do. And, in my opinion, lessens their life expectancy, if you will, their effectiveness, and they go away. See, let me tell you something, people. In the game, and you should all read, all of us should go back and read Malcolm X's autobiography. In the game, he alluded to the fact that we don't elect our leaders. We elect sheep. We kill our leaders. We don't elect our leaders. We kill our leaders. We elect sheep. Now, I told you the first way that you get rid of lions, right? Okay. So you overpopulate and, maybe you push them out of where they normally grow, whatever. But now the other way is cold-blooded. The other way is when that lion is born, pay attention, when that lion is born, you make sure there are no other lions around to teach them about being a lion. It's easy to surround them with sheep. You surround them with sheep. All they see is sheep. You never show them a mirror that says you're a lion. You always show them a sheep and says, look, if there's 9 sheep in here, you're a sheep too. and they learn sheep tendencies and sheep habits. And that becomes a learned habit to the point where the lion, for lack of a better word, is domesticated. You always hear those stories about the lions. They grew up in the zoo and then they go out to the real jungle. They don't last 10 minutes. It's the same thing that's going on now. We now have a situation and a system whereby our politics, once a lion, has been domesticated. Now, people going to preach, what do you mean? What do you mean? Are you saying people are sheep? Yeah. Metaphorically, a lot of us are sheep. And to my immigrant brothers and sisters, I don't want this to sound badly. I don't want it to sound, but I have to tell the truth. When you come to the United States, you are sheep. You are sheep. And they work to keep you sheep. And they point you at African Americans and say, look at them, they're not sheep. They're sheep. We're not sheep. You know what it is? We're in a situation where society has to keep us in a sheepish demeanor because otherwise they can't handle us being wolves or lions or tigers. Oh my. And it's repeated over and over and over. You see, if you say black people are sheep, we're the most dangerous sheep in the world because we knew we were lions before we got here. Slavery, laws, stealing religion, don't tell her who God is, all kind of make sure you can't read. These are all devices to keep you as sheep in this culture, and these people, God bless them, they rose up anyway. So it behooves my brothers and sisters who came to this country in the 60s that they didn't want you to talk to these people. And they categorized them as sheep because that's what you were. They just didn't take anything away from you, but they domesticated you. For the Muslims, I love you, but we got a lot of domesticated Muslims walking around. You've heard me talk about house Muslims and field Muslims. You heard me talk about it. But it's the domestication that I'm emphasizing. I'm not talking about living in a nice house or me walking through a field. I'm talking about a process that's been reiterated over and over and over and over and over again. And I bear to say, I bear this out because I understand it now. Clearly, some people prefer being sheep. Some people prefer the business of keeping lions sheep. The worst thing you could do, is take a sheep and put them in a position of leadership. Because that sheep loses sleep, does not sleep well. You know why? Because he's always worried about a lion showing up. So if you ever wonder why the president has these tweets at 3, 4 in the morning, when he should be getting some sleep, 2 in the morning, that's what sheep do. You ever look at what time sheep go to sleep? And some of them, we have dreams. You ever heard the dreams? Sheep jumping over a fence? Yeah. Makes a little sense. I'm just messing with you. But my point is, we can't engage this way anymore. I said Donald Trump can win. He can win because he's inspired other sheeps. He's inspired other sheeps, and he's emboldened other sheeps to say being a sheep is okay as long as you can keep other people sheep. He's defined a system going back to the Nixon years, if you will. He's defined a system, and people don't do their homework. And they thought when he was talking that he was playing around. That's foolish. That's silly. That's what we said. But nobody said that's history. He's repeating history. And so to his credit, when he says fake news, it is fake news. It is fake news. You know why it's fake news? It already happened. To him, it already happened. Can't happen again. He's making new news. And the point of this discussion today is we have not successfully found our David to put a rock in a slingshot and take down Goliath. Because it's not David that takes down the Goliath, it's the rock. It's not the slingshot, it's the rock. The rock is about details. The rock is about the truth. The rock is about potential and opportunity. And if we don't pick up this rock and properly cast it where it needs to go, we're going to possibly be dealing with not another 4 years of Donald Trump, because clearly he's probably going to lose. But you can be dealing with another 40 years of people who are sheep walking around thinking they're lions, making poor decisions, oppressing people, and continually laying out a groundwork for the people that come behind them to continue to do the same thing. We're looking at an aspect of tradition that's being laid down. You have 4 years of some of the illest tradition that's been laid down. And children watch. Children watch. Children have to watch their parents be powerless, the politicians be powerless, and the idea of common sense and morality out the window. And if this continues, he will win, because he would have set a precedent. I mean, he set a bunch of precedents. He just set a precedent that's so low that the lowest of society will look at it and think that this is a good thing. The politicians will look at this and go, you know what? I know the truth, but let me get down here, because this thing right here, this sheep feels good. So brothers and sisters, again, please hear me out when I'm talking about a man who's mastered the idea that I'm a sheep, but I can keep everybody else sheep too. And he has figured out a situation, a scenario, with the help of society and some compromise from us too. He's figured out a way, brothers and sisters, to organize the sheep to make sure that the lions that are out there, have to adapt and deal with sheep mentality. I gotta go, but I just wanted to throw this out. Normally this is Throwback Thursday, I know, brothers and sisters, but it bothered me because I've been watching the news. I watched 45 say, hey, I want to shut down the post office. Basically, he wanted to fund the post office because he knows that it will affect mail-in voting, potentially a way he could lose his presidency. Same way he won't give out. Why do you have a press conference to talk about why he won't give out aid for COVID relief? See what I'm saying? That's sheep behavior. So in 2020, please, brothers and sisters, get the sheep out of the White House. In fact, it even sounds funny. Get the sheep out of here. Let's get our man babies out of places. Brothers and sisters, God bless you. I hope I said something that was valuable and meaningful. Like I said, always, this is just me thinking out of the box. Thank you so much for supporting the show. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next Shout Out Show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.